professionals. Exactly. Yeah, and that, you can do that. We've got a computerized system in place now that can do that. Why we won't make it a law and make it a requirement for employment, I don't know. That's something I would like to work on when I go to Washington.
If cap and trade is not passed by the time of the election, what would you feel about that? How do you feel about that? And how would you handle it?
Well, I'm absolutely opposed to cap and trade. I think what we've got to do is we've got to bring this grassroots. If we don't get the majority in Congress, and I don't know that we're going to get the majority, so I'd like to think that what I'm hearing as I visit across the 5th District is an awful lot of angst and anger and fear for people about what's happening in Washington, what this is doing. I'm hoping that will be nationwide, and that we will send enough people to Congress, that there'll be a bunch of freshmen like me in Congress, and that we can get together and we can ban, we can stop this stuff, or reverse it, either one. Because if it does get passed before we get there, then I would work very strongly to reverse it. I think that's a job-killing bill for sure, and particularly in some parts of Virginia. Tremendous.
If you were elected, would you have Congress did get the majority of the Republicans? Would you be for doing away with the czars, and would you be for defunding the health care that probably will get signed?
Absolutely. I'm totally against health care.
Right, I understand that, but would you make that a top priority?
Sure. Yeah, our economy's got to be a top priority, and all these things are what's going to kill our economy. So the cap and trade, the health care plan, the Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, all these issues are going to be items that will kill our economy. And I think that's got to be our #1 priority, is to roll back all of these spending sprees.
How about impeachment for president? Would you support them to do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I don't know what grounds you would impeach him on. I guess maybe you could say the SARS are unconstitutional. There's a number of different areas there, but it's certainly something that I would consider.
I think he's demonstrating a lot of American actions.
Oh, absolutely.
Based on the fact that he wants to break terrorists in New York to have a show trial. Our foreign policy is in shambles, and I think we need people in Congress that have good conservative and strong values when it comes to national defense and defense of the homeland. And I think that anybody that we send to the 5th District should represent all of that.
You're exactly right. And you know, one of the things that I've prided myself on in the 10 years that I've been serving in Albemarle County is constituent service. And I think that's one thing you're not getting right now, because obviously Tom Barry was not listening to what the 5th District is. I'm not sure he's ever listened to them. I think he's always been up in sort of the New York values and all. But the other thing is, and I know what you're looking for here, is how are you going to know that if you send me to Washington and I'm going to stand up for what I'm telling you I'm going to do either? And I can only say that I've got the experience, and you can look at my record and you can look at my history, because I've been there and I've done that. In Albemarle County, we have our own version of Nancy Pelosi. Her name is Sally Thomas. Some of the people in Albemarle know what I'm talking about. I can't tell you the number of times that lady and I went toe to toe, because we were just totally at opposite ends of what she wanted to do, which was overburden people with government regulations, take away their personal property rights. Even the Second Amendment rights one time was an issue. I've never backed off.
How do you feel about the Second Amendment?
I'll absolutely support the right to bear arms. Yeah, you know, I said at the beginning, when I raise my right hand and say it's fair to uphold the Constitution, I mean that's an important document, so it's legally followed. It's been.
How do you feel about card check?
Well, I mean, it's totally against our right to work laws here in Virginia. I think that we ought to pull the 10th Amendment on, and as I think Ken Cuccielli is going to do with a number of issues, including probably here, when that passes, when they try to force that onto a certain state. Yeah, I'm opposed to card check. You know, I think that the secret ballot has been an institution for a long time, and we certainly need to be there.
And the family that lives on fixed income, I'm looking at when seniors were denied their increase this year, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how they came about with all this, because you just look at everybody, and our gas bill has gone up, and the electric bill has gone up, and the insurance premiums have gone up, and my groceries have gone up, and we got nothing. But they got a raise. And I have a real problem with House and Senate or whoever voting bill. If you don't have that in our country, that you vote your own crazy. That is, to me, unheard of. I don't understand how that can go. and I don't like it.
Well, I'm very concerned about the senior citizens that are in the United States, particularly in the 5th District, and how we want to treat them. I don't know how they came up with the formula that there was not any increase. Obviously, there's a formula that they use, a CPI, that says there was no increase in it this year, and that's why Social Security checks remain the same as they do. But I know from my standpoint in Albemarle County, the reasons I want to reduce taxes this year, and I'm going to be able to do it because I got the votes to do it this time, is for the very thing you're saying. We've got an awful lot of senior people that live in our living on fixed income, not just seniors, but other people living on fixed income. We got a lot of people that are out of work, that don't have jobs. And my solution to that is lower the taxes and unleash our businesses and let them create jobs and get this economy going. We're not going to do it by government spending, that's for sure.
And I also don't like the fact that they're telling us about healthcare, what is so good for us, but they don't have to have the same thing as do that. And I don't understand. If it's so good, I think they ought to have it. Well, we should.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the Congress of the United States lives by a different set of rules than everybody else in the country, and we should change that.
I think we probably have to move on.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
A little bit of a housekeeping thing.